aim of the workshop was to raise awareness on gender issues in certified value chains, tea, coffee and cocoa, share and analyze 10 cases which have been done in 2010 in the 4 countries I mentioned, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda and Ghana. The activities we've done, we have shared case studies in a marketplace, which was a very busy, real marketplace, where you could buy information on case studies. We analyzed the why, the how and the results of how to incorporate gender. We identified strategies and how to make them effective by different groups of producers, support services and so on. And we this morning, we really looked in how we can involve the private sector and convince them that gender equity and equality is very important also for them.
Coffee is one of the largest traded commodities in the world. One way to show your commitment to social responsibility is to work directly with farmers and to work in situations where women are empowered. Some of the issues that I see, some of the advantages I see in empowering women is that it's an opinion that's never been experienced. It's an opportunity that has not been explored. There are solutions out there to some of the problems that exist in coffee that we're unaware of, and it's because we've not engaged the full segment. Some of the opportunities, I was speaking with a Kenyan washing station owner or cooperative manager just yesterday, and he said, I engage the women. The more I engage women, the more quality product I get, the more production goes up. There's a valid reason. There's a valid reason to engage women.
New Cafe started a key focus on gender equity in decision making at the household level in 2008. This came as a realization from our membership where there were households that produced very good coffee, but they were unable to market. And the men were saying, no, we can't market because our wives are stealing the coffee. Then we realized there is a problem in the household in terms of who really owns the coffee, how the household looked at the coffee. The household looked at the coffee as a man's crop. So instead of the women bulking the coffee and taking it to the group with the men, the women could sell off to the middlemen, the small traders, and that would lead to losses. So we came in with an intervention to mainly focus on increasing the productivity and increasing the profitability of coffee.
Africa Cocoa Coalition is trying to do a project looking at the gender equity in cocoa production. And that's the reason why I'm here, to learn from others so that we can go back home and see how best we can sustain our cocoa industry.
Like now in my comparative, we are promoting gender because we have seen that most of the women are left out when producing coffee, because coffee has become a man's crop. That's why we decided it's good to ask our women to go back to coffee.
As an association, we believe, things that affect the productivity or the working conditions around the particular product that we have, which is coffee, are important. And for us, addressing gender is generally addressing, the quality of life of a household. Because then in a household, if one part of the household is either being overworked or not receiving equal returns for the work that they're doing, then there's a challenge in that household. And for us, if something then builds to that household having a better quality of life, then it's something that we need to work on.
When you look at certifications like organic, the standard that is audited by an organization like Soil Association, we find that mainly it looks at the practices, the good agricultural practices. But when we look at the social aspects such as equity and non-discrimination plus other social aspects, they are not addressed in the standards. And until such aspects have been captured in the standards, that's the only time we find that they'll be implemented uniformly across all the production sites, whether in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, or anywhere else in the world. So we find that as at now, various growers may come up with their own initiatives and implement, but that may not be replicated in all the growing sites across the various countries where the certification is implemented.
For instance, if you take a place like Kenya, how many chairpersons of cooperatives are women?
Because there is the aspect of...
In Nyeri there are 2, and they are here for the International Women in Coffee.
Out
of about 50.
the whole of Nyeri.
There is the aspect
out of more than almost 70
and
cooperatives.
Here.
Yeah, but at least there are 2 now. After 5 years, you find there are 15. You never know. Yeah. After this meeting, they will.
And if you try to find out, these 2 women are not the key decision makers.
Yes.
I don't know of any standard setting body which has ever called a meeting to discuss a gender agenda in the standard. Yet they call to discuss price changes, premiums,
pesticides,
or environment, what pesticides should be used or don't use, what contracts should be like.
It's again what is important from the consumer's point of view.
Because I think sometimes we miss out points like gender, because not because of our assumption of domination or something like that, but because mainly of lack of identification of the situation in the field.
In terms of skills development, what are we talking about? Which level of women, what's their capacity to absorb the training that we're talking about, or are we just saying training like empowerment? They exist in other small micro contexts that all affect this training. There's, for example, local finance, there's the home situation, there's the political situation. All those contribute to how this training we are referring to will be absorbed and taken up by women and thereby implemented in the sectors or the part of the value chain where they're involved.
I think the checking part is important. Don't just put it in the standard, but just check. And every time as you check, just make sure there's improvement. That last year we checked, it wasn't done this way. You recommend improvement, and then you can also create the linkages with private partners that can be able to raise awareness and even do some real projects that can address the issues. Yeah, and this really works, and you can come back again and check. So the checking is important. You can have it in the standard, but if you don't check it, that's it. And if you don't have any initiatives to encourage that it's actually implemented, then it won't be.
When we are going around, we found that results are not seeing what we are doing. And I think it's because we are not documenting what we are doing very well. So I think that in order to people to see that gender is working is very, very important to document.
I realized that using role models will be a very fast way in bringing about change to overcome challenges like resistance from the household or fear of being ridiculed in the community, or even overcoming cultural pressures against change.
My take-home will be that I love to be more organized. When I'm organizing my trainings will have to be more inclusive. That is to mean I love to also factor in gender awareness training in my trainings, and also look at the timing of the trainings, look at the venues so that they do not coincide with the main women activities in the farms.
When I go back home, I will have to tell my colleague that when we are going out there, we are expecting to meet about 70% of our producers are women. So when we are assigning auditors for inspection or auditing assignments, we should also consider this, that women auditors are also included.
And for the next year workshop, I think we should really consider what have been done, what have been discussed among stakeholders, and whether the missing out of gender perspective is there because by intentions, or it's just missing out because it is forgotten during the process of discussion.